Hi, my name is Gina Louise. Welcome to my channel. I created this channel because I'm always getting asked how I make things, and I just thought it would be fun to have a channel where I show how I do my DIYs and my makeovers and my home staging. So anyway, I've been dying to be part of Heidi Sonboul's design challenge every month, where you have to go into the Dollar Tree and buy things from the dollar store and create some pretty home decor from it. Anyway, I thought 2 months ago I was going to be able to be part of this when the whole pandemic started and we had to be in self-isolation. I thought, wow, I can't work. So for the first time I can actually craft and relax. But what happened was my daughter, who is a frontliner, started working at her hospital and they didn't have supplies for her. So being the helicopter mom I am, I started freaking out and making her masks and scrub hats, and from then other nurses were reaching out to me to make them scrub caps and masks, and same with essential workers. So instead of me being able to craft for the last 2 months, I've been sitting at a sewing machine for 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that's not an exaggeration, making masks and scrub caps and donating them to hospitals and to nurses and to essential workers. So this is the first chance I got to join Heidi Sonboul in her design challenge. And I hope I can figure out how to upload the list, because you have to upload a list of the other designers who are in this challenge, and I'm not sure how to do that, but hopefully I can figure it out by the time I upload this. Anyway, without further ado, let's see what I made from Dollar Tree stuff.
Here we go, project number 1. For this project, you're going to need some kosher salt, paint in different colors. I used my Waverly White. I used Debbie's DIY in 2 of my favorite colors, 57 Chevy and Mermaid chip paintbrush from Dollar Tree, and something to mix them with. Your hot glue gun. I'm wearing gloves because I haven't been able to do my nails. Here is what I'm using. I'm using these little mini golf games from the Dollar Tree. You will need 5 of these for this project. I was only able to get 3 of them because that's all Dollar Tree had. I am using cardboard to make the other 2 I don't have. I was going to use these wood pieces, but it didn't work. You're going to need these little hooks from Dollar Tree. You will need some popsicle sticks. Here are the 3 mini golf games that I was able to get from the Dollar Tree. And look, they even have finger protectors. I was so excited. I'm going to glue these together in a jagged pattern. So I still burnt my fingers even though I had gloves on, and decided I was going to put on the finger protectors on top of my gloves. Now, look at that. Now there's a look. Here is where I'm taking the cardboard and creating 2 more of these blocks. So I'm tracing the wood golf game, and I'm cutting 4 of those and gluing them together to get the exact same thickness as the little golf game blocks. I decided to alternate the wood and the cardboard pieces instead of putting the 2 cardboard pieces together and creating a weak spot. So I thought that was the best thing to do. Now I'm adding popsicle sticks to make this sturdy. So I'm just going to glue a few of these on the back. Now I'm taking these plastic hooks from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to paint them to look like metal, like a little galvanized metal. So I'm using black metallic paint and gray metallic paint. And I'm going to use my stamping brush and I'm going to just stamp both colors all over the plastic to get the look of metal. Now we're going to let these dry and we're going to paint our little wood golf games we put together. I'm taking the brown acrylic paint and adding some water to it, stirring it around, and I'm taking my foam paintbrush, a dry foam paintbrush, and I'm going to swipe it on all the pieces so it kind of makes it look a little streaky so that to me it looks like it has a wood finish. Now I'm going to take this camel colored paint that I have. It's like a tan, a light tan, a beige color. And I'm going to just pour some of it right in the center of the brown watered down paint I have in the container. And I'm going to blot my foam brush into it. See here, I'm pouring it in right in the center. I'm not really going to stir it around good. I mean, I'm going to stir it around, but I'm going to add a little more because I do want a little bit of a blob in there that I could grab when I need more. So I'm going to tap on that, mix it around a little bit, not too much, and I'm going to swipe that over the brown, and that's going to make it look like a wood grain. It's working really well. Even on the cardboard pieces, it came out just looking like it's wood. All the pieces look the same. You couldn't even tell that it's cardboard. Now I'm going to let this fully dry before I do the next step, but you're going to see somehow I lost a little piece of footage because I'm going from creating this wood grain straight to the next paint, but I let this fully dry before I did the next one. Now here is where I lost a little piece of footage, but it's okay because I'm doing this 3 times. I'm using my paint, plaster of Paris, water, and kosher salt. And this is the recipe to make this salty, beachy looking paint that you see chipping away on Adirondack chairs and beach furniture. So you're going to take your paint in a nice color. This is Mermaid Tail by Debbie's DIY paint. And you're going to pour that into your bucket, and you're going to add equal parts of water. Then you're going to add half the amount of kosher salt, like you're going to see me doing it here. Now I'm going to add, well, I didn't do it in the order I'm telling you, but it's hard to really mess this up. But anyway, the paint and water should be equal amounts. Then the kosher salt should be half the amount of that. Then you're going to add the plaster of Paris until you get like a cake batter consistency. This recipe, seriously, is very hard to mess up. It doesn't have to be exact. It's not like baking, something I'm not great at. Anyway, after you create that, see, I'm adding a little more plaster Paris here because it's not really a cake consistency yet. Then when you get your mixture like cake batter, you're going to take your chip brush, dry, and you're going to load it up. And then you're going to do a nice big thick swipe so that you could see the salt pieces in it, and it's going on very heavy. But this dries so beautifully, it looks like the weathered beach furniture. Now I'm doing the exact same thing with my Waverly chalk paint in white. I'm going to list the recipe below on how to make this salt paint. You do not use baking soda for this. I got a little bit of plaster Paris on the top of the baking soda that I was dumping off, but you do not use baking soda. I had tried this recipe with baking soda, seeing if I could use that instead of plaster of Paris, but it does not come out the same at all. Now we're going to let this fully dry before we do the next step. The next step is to put our hooks on. So I let this sit. It was actually a sunny day. I put outside hoping it would dry quicker. And then, as you're going to see shortly, that it was completely dry. Doesn't that look really cool? With all the salt little bumps in it. Anyway, here it is. It's fully dry now. And now I'm going to hot glue the little hooks on, which I had a hard time removing the backs. Doesn't that look so pretty? I'm so happy with the way it's coming out. Now we have to put on the rope to hang it from, and that's going to give it a nice little nautical look. I'm trying to figure out if I should add the rope to the end boards to hang it, or should I add the rope to the two center boards? I'm trying to figure out what looks nicer and how it will hang better. Anyway, I ended up putting it on the end boards. I just love, love, love how this came out. And if you watch to the end of this video, you will see how I styled this in my house. So please make sure you watch to the end. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Give me the thumbs up if you like this. Help me make this channel grow. This project, I'm going to do my take on beaded garland. I'm going to do a coastal farmhouse beaded garland, and I'm going to use some Mod Podge, these nautical wooden pieces from the Dollar Tree, some skewers, these little decorative balls that I got from the Dollar Tree near the floral section. I used 3 packages of those. I used twine, jute from the dollar store. I'm going to use my coastal colored paints, Mermaid Tail and 57 Chevy by Debbie's DIY clay paint, and I bought a big bag of wooden beads from Amazon, and I'll put the link to those below. I'm also using this paper that I bought from Michael's. It looks like when you're looking into your pool when the sun is hitting it, the movement of the water. I just love it. Now I'm going to put my wooden beads on the skewer so I could paint them. And I'm going to paint some in the ocean looking blue, which is called Mermaid Tail, and some beads in the 57 Cherry color, which is a Tiffany blue color, I absolutely love it. And after I paint the beads, I'm going to stick the skewers in a piece of foam so they could dry. I also decided to use the mint green color from Debbie's DIY paints. I believe it's called Mint Chip. If anybody is a fan of Debbie's clay paints and you know the color, can you please comment below? I think it's called Mint Chip. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I think it's Mint Chip. It's beautiful. Now I'm going to take the anchor from this nautical pack of little wood pieces from the Dollar Tree. There's 2 of each in here. I'm just going to use one of the anchors. And I'm going to take that really pretty paper that I got from Michael's that looks like water, and I'm going to decoupage it onto the anchor. After the Mod Podge dried, I cut as close as I could with my scissors, and then I'm just taking a nail file and I'm filing the edges so I have a nice clean edge. Both sides are going to be seen of the anchor. So I could have decoupaged this side as well, but I decided to paint it and try to give it a little, make it look a little different, but a similar effect. So I'm using the mermaid tail paint, and then I'm going to just take white chalk paint and I'm going to do some swivelly little lines in it to kind of mimic the other side, but have it a little bit different. Dollar Tree got in this eyelash yarn in these great pastel colors. So I got the mint green and I got the blue and the white, and what I'm doing is I'm wrapping them around my hand to make a tassel for the other end of my beaded garland. If you don't have this eyelash yarn, you can do the same technique with jute, and I've seen it done a million times on YouTube with my favorite DIYers. So this is just my take on making a tassel. I thought it would be interesting doing it with the eyelash yarn, and the colors would look so pretty with the colors that I painted my beads. Take a piece of yarn and push it through the center, and you're going to make a knot to hold all of that together. Then after you make the knot at the top, you're going to run your scissors through the center bottom and you're going to cut so you can open up all those loops. And then this is how you're going to make your tassel. And you're going to fluff it out and you're going to trim it and make it all even. Now you're going to take another piece of yarn and you're just going to tie it about an inch from the top. I think it came out so cute. I just love it. Now you're going to string your beads on your jute string. And at first I did the method where you tie a piece of tape around the tip of it so you could get it through. But I was having some problems with these stringy beads. Like I couldn't do it, so I ended up using an embroidery needle. And that worked great. Now we're going to make this coastal farmhouse shadow box from Dollar Tree items and some stuff I picked up from the thrift store. We're going to start off with this glass frame from the dollar store. Out of office, we're going to get some acetone, and we're going to little cotton wipes here and a scraper, and we're going to scrape off that little sign that says out of office. We're going to use some sand and some glitter. I have the seashells left over from another project, but you could get those at the Dollar Tree as well. My tacky glue. Now we're going to use acetone to take the letters off. I watch one of my favorite DIYers, Wendy from White Living Sparrow, do this all the time, and she makes it look so easy, and I had such a problem getting these letters off. First I used the cotton, then I used the scraper. I kept doing that, and it wasn't happening. Even when I let it soak, it would not come off. I ended up using a razor blade to get it off. Okay, now we're going to take some foam board from Dollar Tree, and we're going to trace the frame, and we're going to make a backing for this frame. After I cut out my frame, I took my little block sander and I just sanded down the ends of the foam board and made it nice and smooth. Now I'm going to dry brush some white Waverly chalk paint on the frame, and I'm going to use a couple of other colors too. Now I'm going to dry brush one of my favorite colors from Debbie's DIY Paints, and it's called 57 Chevy. And if I had to compare it to any other color, I would say it's pretty close to a Tiffany blue, which is my favorite color. I'm drawing a wave on my craft paper so that when I put my glass frame over it, I can just kind of trace over it since I'm going to be using glue on the glass. Now here is what became my epic fail. I thought I could put these seashells into the glue and that when everything dried you'd be able to see the seashells on the other side. But that didn't happen. So you'll see later on what I ended up doing, because I really thought that this project was going to be a total failure after I saw what it looked like when it dried. Now I'm mixing the sand with glitter, and I even have a little bit of tiny blue seed beads in there already because I've made this mixture before for a beach wedding. We made some things for the wedding and I still had a little bit of the mixture left, but now I'm going to put in more glitter and sand, and I'm going to pour it over the glue and let that dry. So this is a few hours later, and I assumed that the glue was all dry. It was still a little wet, but I poured off all the extra sand that didn't stick to the glue. And then when I flipped it over is when I was so disappointed because you could not tell those were seashells. You couldn't see them. They just looked like little white blobs. And the glue was still a little wet in areas. So what I ended up doing to save this project was, and you'll see later on in this video, I ended up gluing pearls and little blue glass gems and the seashells to the front of the frame. Now I'm taking that pretty blue water paper and I'm going to trace around the foam board that I cut out before for the back, and then I'm going to Mod Podge the paper onto the foam board. I found this anchor in a thrift store. Actually, it was a set of two, and I think I paid like 50 cents for it, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. So I held on to it in my stash, and I figured someday I'll figure it out. So I think it will look nice in the shadow box, and I'm going to remove the netting on the anchor, and I'm going to use that somewhere else on my shadow box. But what I want to do is I want to paint the blue parts on this, that beautiful Tiffany blue color called 57 Chevy actually, and I'm going to remove the little wooden knob sticking out, the hook part that's you're supposed to hang something on it, but that ends up not fitting in the shadow box, so I'm going to remove that. I filled the hole in with my Dollar Tree spackle, and I figured when it dried I was going to paint it and make it look like the rest of the anchor. But then last minute I decided to just put a pretty pearl over it. And this is when I realized this frame is just a little too tight for the anchor, and I don't like that. So I decide to get my foam board again and cut sides out and glue them on the inside of the frame to make it deeper, so that I had some depth to this shadow box. And I'm also going to add the wheel, the ship wheel, and I'm painting it with my Waverly chalk paint in Agave, another beautiful color. And I'm going to add that to my shadow box as well. I cut the sides out of foam board. I already had the square still cut out of the foam board from when I did the back, so I already had the measurements. So I just cut out 4 squares, and I figured the 2 shorter ones I'll just trim as I put it together. And now I just hot glue the edges and I just stick them in to the glass. If you have a rough side to the foam board pieces, make sure that you glue the rough side down onto the glass so that the top part of it is nice and smooth for when you add the backing. Add a little more glue down at the bottom so that it's nice and sturdy.
like DIYs and you like to learn how to do home staging and you just want to craft, please subscribe to my channel. Give me the thumbs up, leave a comment. All that stuff just helps me get up the search engine on YouTube and get me noticed, and it helps me move my channel along. Thank you.